Hello, this is Phúc Phan and welcome to CSV College Writing. In this course, we will give you an introduction on the kinds of papers and essays that you will be writing in college. We will also share with you how to plan a college paper. We will give you writing tips to improve your writing. And finally, we will alert you on the kinds of mistakes that you will make in college writing and to prevent a major problem, which is plagiarism and academic dishonesty. So those are the four focuses of CSV College Writing. Now, writing is an activity that you will be doing a lot in college. And it will not just be you typing away at a keyboard, but it will also involve a lot of research and a lot of reading on your part. If you come from an education system that is very different from the US or Canadian systems, you will be surprised at how much you will have to read and write in your first year at college. In fact, this volume can be so overwhelming that it can leave you pretty exhausted by the end of your college career. Now, if you have already been accepted to an American college or university, we hope to provide a smooth transition for you into the learning style of American colleges so that you will not have a shock at how much work you have to do in your first year. On the other hand, if you are still working on being accepted by a school in the US, we hope the writing skills that we cover at CSV College Writing will help you with the English proficiency test that you still have to take, as well as the admissions application that inevitably you will get to. Now, as you head into college writing, there is one point about the writing that will haunt you throughout your 4 years, and that is to create a good thesis in your paper. And please remember this word very well, it will keep coming back and haunt you. A thesis can be defined as the single point that you are trying to make in your paper. This is the main argument that you are trying to defend and the whole point of why you are writing the essay in the first place. We can think of the thesis as sort of the spirit of your essay. Your thesis can be made up of one or up to a few sentences, summarizing the central idea or claim of your paper. It is the one message you want your reader to come away with from reading your essay. And ideally, you would want your thesis to be interesting and debatable. Your paper will not give out much interest if you are just writing out obvious facts or common knowledge. Alright, once you have your thesis, it is time to organize your paper and put in the rest of the writing. Alright, since the thesis is so important, you want to state it early on at the beginning of your essay, so the reader knows what to expect in the rest of the paper. You also want to reinstate the thesis at the end to make sure your reader really walks away with the point you wanted to make. Now you want to back up your thesis claim with paragraphs in the middle. Each of these paragraphs should start with a topic sentence that sums up the information in the paragraph and how it supports your thesis statement. If your paper involves defending one side in a controversial topic, it is a good idea to devote some space, usually at the start of the conclusion, to address your opposing argument and provide more well-rounded reasoning. Keep in mind, however, that your thesis should come out strong. Don't use up so much writing to mention the opposite side that the focus of the paper becomes blurry. A structure commonly used in each of your body paragraphs is the claim, evidence, explanation sequence. Start off by making a claim with your topic sentence, then use data or concrete examples to support your claim, and finally, tie it all together with a brief analysis or explanation of your data to show how the evidence supports the claim. As you head on to more advanced papers, be prepared to do lots of research to find enough evidence for your entire paper. And there you have it, a reliable paper structure that may be used for most types of papers throughout various major topics and length requirements. Usually the hardest step when you have a new and difficult topic is to write the very first sentences. Okay, do not panic if the writing doesn't come out naturally. Here are a few steps to take. First, jot down any words, phrases, or sentences that come to mind when you think about the topic. Many of these words eventually become keywords and help guide the thought process. Don't think too hard in this stage, just let the ideas flow out. Arrange them into themes, remove elements that are unhelpful, and find a topic sentence for each of the themes you come up with. Voila! A basic structure is formed. Once you have this basic structure, work on creating a strong thesis statement. Add evidence and reasoning to support your claims, and you end up with a draft of your paper. The process of spontaneously putting out words and phrases is commonly known as brainstorming. Sounds like a video game special ability, doesn't it? At CSV, we have a motto, which is done is better than perfect. Please don't try to be a perfectionist at the very first steps, because it can exhaust you early on and make you lose inspiration later on. For the ESL learner, it is easy to get obsessed early on about finding big words, fancy grammar structures, and the perfect format. After all, many ESL students have spent most of their English education going over very complex grammar rules. As you make your way into college writing, it is important to control the urge to constantly find big words and adopt a more natural writing method. Do not be afraid to make rather rough drafts and free writes. Perfect comes later in the form of proofreading and editing. Once the main ideas are out, it becomes a much more pleasant task to go over your writing and fixing details that remain clumsy, much in the same way an artist needs to move through very simple shapes before adding the fine details. Make sure you fix common mistakes with grammar, spelling, word choice, or conjunction use, and give your essay a polished surface. Generally speaking, not even the most experienced writers are free from writing mistakes without proofreading their papers. It really helps if you are not the only person editing your paper, because as you wrote it down, you will most likely be in love with every single word and idea that you put down. It really helps to have a peer editor. This can be a friend, this can be a writing tutor, and they will help you cut out the parts that are illogical. So it is always nice to have a second person who can make your writing more logical and more concise. And after all, when all is said and done, practice is the key. Don't stress out about not being a proficient writer in your first year. This is a skill that you will keep on reinforcing throughout your 4 years at college. And by the end, you will have built all the necessary skills and knowledge required to be a good writer. Alright, so this brings us to the end of the introduction to college writing. In the following modules, we are going to talk about the style of an academic paper, bring up the common kinds of writing mistakes usually made by college students. We will break down the different types of essays and papers that you will see throughout your college career, and finally deal with a major aspect of college writing, which is how to avoid plagiarism. Good luck with your studies. Happy writing!